Hello there everybody, this is Spring and My What Ifs, back here with part 3 of What If Deku was the ultimate werewolf. Okay, before we get into this part, small powers that I forgot to tell you in the last part for null magic. He can create weapons as long as he imbues the weapon with a certain emotion. And the color of the weapon varies for what emotion he's designed to put into it. And also, right before Izuku left, Ava gave him something. She practiced one of the fine arts of mask making. So she gave him a mask. And this is what the mask looks like. She made it for him since he knows that in his world he doesn't like showing his face. Also something that I forgot that I didn't mention in the last part, he usually wears a hoodie and something that covers his face because he doesn't want to be associated, well, not really associated, but recognized to be easy if you like him. Ever since he was around 6, he's been put in medias. He's been asked to play acting roles. Well, yeah, and he wasn't allowed to, and he didn't want to. But he only played in one, which was this like one movie, which he starred in, and yeah. So let's get into it. Right after he exits, well, right after he enters the portal. So he is confused. He doesn't recognize the place, and he then says that this doesn't look like my dimension. As then he looks around and sees the sky. Looks up and sees the sky. It being red, kind of like a fire, hellish kind of red. As then he starts to feel something inside of him. This being anger. Also, another thing. In each one of these dimensions, he will unlock a certain emotion. A certain emotion will be amplified. In the last one, it was care. So his care emotion or feeling, has been raised more. The only reason that he now cares more is because of Ava. And this one is going to amplify his anger. As then he then sees these people have they're red, look all demonish. As then they walk up to him saying, "You must have recently died, because you smell really like the living world." As then Izuku replies back with, "That's because I am living." As they then attack him. And they then ask why they're attacking him, "Why the hell are you in hell, boy?" As Izuku then replies back with, "What do you mean by hell?" As Izuku then looks around and sees a banner saying, "Welcome to hell." As then Izuku asks the two guys, is he in hell? As they reply back with, "Of course." As they continue to try and kill him, one bringing out a knife. When he tried to stab Izuku, it kind of shattered. As then the guy asks, "How the hell did you survive a blessed tip weapon?" As Izuku says, "Probably since I have god magic, angelic magic, and demon magic, and a couple other things." As they're scared. As then Izuku gets this devilish grin on his face. As then he brings out his claws and slits the guy, and looks like he disappears, but then he slits the guy's throat. And he continues walking until he sees a flyer to, "If you need someone dead, come to IMP. We have special access to the living world." So he finds the address and goes to it. As when he gets inside, the Luna is surprised seeing a human in hell. As she then calls Blitz, something like weird's happening out here. As Blitz comes in and sees Izuku, as he then pulls a gun out on Izuku, as Izuku says, "I'm not here to fight or kill you, I'm just trying to get back to my world." As then, well, Blitz says, "What are you doing here, human?" As Yuzuki says, "Not really a human, I'm more of a werewolf." Well, yeah. As Blitzo says, "What do you mean by werewolf? You mean one of those people that can shift between human and werewolf?" As Yuki flings back with, "Exactly." As he brings out his wolf ears and tail and shows his teeth and claws. As Blitz and Izuku doesn't really notice this, but Luna interested in this. But then Blitzer asks, "What are you doing here?" As Izuku then replies back with, "I heard that you are able to take people to the living world." As Blitzer says, "What are you gonna, if, say we do?" And well, Izuku saying, "I know you do, I can hear your heartbeat." As Blitzer being himself saying, "Oh, fuck. Well, can't strike any kind of deal, it seems." As Izuki says, "Well, you can strike a deal, it just depends on what kind of deal it is." As Blitz says, "Well, do I need to help us with a few jobs?" As Izuku agrees. As a couple minutes go by, as Blitzo is introducing Izuku to Millie and Moxie. As then Blitzo gets a call. As then he asks to be excused. As then Izuku asks Millie and Moxie, "What's he doing in there?" As Millie replies back with, "Probably a call from his boyfriend." As Izuku just looks and thinks, "Well, this is hell, so what was I expecting?" As then he comes out and says that we have a mission. As then Blitzo fills them in, saying that they're going to be going to Lululand and protecting Stolas. As when they decide to meet up, Stolas looks at Izuku and pulls Blitzo off to the side, saying, "Why is a human here?" As Blitzo replies back with, "Not quite sure. Don't know how he got here." As Izuku can just replies back with, "I opened a dimensional portal to this, to hell." As Stolas, asks him, "What do you mean by you opened a portal?" As as Yuku then shows him some fire, some water, a whole bunch of stuff, including angelic and demonic and godly magic. As Stolas is both terrified and amazed with how can a human handle so much power in such a mortal body. As Izuku says that my predecessor was cursed by a wolf god. And, well, yeah. As an, Stolas asks, "Well, is he going to be useful to Blitzo?" He asks Blitzo, "Is he going to be useful?" As, Blitzo asks Izuku, "Are you going to be useful in any sort of way?" As, Izuku replies back with, "What do you need me to do?" As Blitz asks Izuku, demonstrate something that you can do. As Izuku asks, sure. As he shines his eye, he brings out his ultimate eyes, he's being a bright red. As he brings out his claws, his ears, his tail, as then spikes come out of his elbows, his back, and his eyes. As he starts changing into his werewolf form, or his spiked werewolf form, saying that this is my werewolf form when it's imbued with fire magic. As he shoots one of the quills out, this setting a small fire to the thing that it hit. As he then shifts back to his normal human self, or human form, I should say. As Stolas is intrigued, as then Stolas asks, so that dimensional portal, show me. As he says, I can't right now, I need to let my mana recharge. As Stolas understands, saying that he has a similar thing, but it doesn't really drain his magic that much. As Yuki says, well, the only reason, well, this is actually quite a new power for him, so the more he has it, the quicker that specific mana will recharge. And also, the mana for is different for each thing. So the stronger the magic thing is, the longer the mana pile will take to replenish. And each of the glyphs have their own different mana piles. So say if Izuku was to create a volcanic explosion, that would drain about half of it. But with the dimensional portal, it drains around most of it, leaving like around 5% left. Just enough so that he can open like small ones. As Stolas asks, show me a small one then. As he opens it and they see, well, the living world for them. But it being different in some way, shape, or form. As then Izuku looks through it, saying that that's my world then. As Izuku says that is where I come from. As Blitz says, well, definitely probably a different dimension, because we have regular just humans on our overworld. As Izuku says, well, that's a buzzkill. Realizing that the overworld there is and the hell down here are two completely different ones. Saying that this must not be his dimension's hell. As then Izuku says that he's probably gonna have to stay here for a while. As then he asks if he can join the business just so he can make some cash to live here for a bit until his mana recharges. As they continue on with the mission of protecting Stolas. As then they protect around 30 minutes later, they're walking through the park and they see the the top thing, the one where that animatronic guy is. As then Izuku sees the look on Akiba's face being both disgusted and fearful of the place, asking her if she wants to ditch this place and go somewhere else. As she says that she wouldn't be able to, that her father would realize that she's gone. As Yuki says, technically not really, since he can stop time for a period of time and make illusions of them that are pretty much exact replicas. As she says, really? And Izuku says, yeah, and then she agrees to go out, well, on a semi-date with him. As Izuku creates an illusion and the same stuff happens without illusion, but this taking a longer time. Them going on a few more rides, and then, but well, with them outside of Lululand, um, they go on, well, a date, get to know each other. They tell each other about their pasts. She tells Izuku about what her family's going through, and Izuku says that, well, he hasn't had he had a very similar childhood. As she then asks him, how old is he? As he says that he is 15, but then as she says that he's a similar age. Okay, now this is I'm gonna say some stuff now. I know that she's 18 in the show, but I'm gonna be de-aging her. Just for the simple reason that Izuku will have a harem in this one. Spoilers. As they continue on with the date, as she asks him what else he can do with his magic, as he says that he has demonic, as he tells her all the magical abilities that he has so far. So he has fire, water, earth, thunder, air, demonic, angelic, godly, dimensional, null, void, draconic, cosmic, destructive, illusion, and that's all that he knows so far, and that he doesn't know if he's going to be getting any more. As she understands this relatively well, as she shows some of her magical abilities, her creating a tiny, well, cosmic void. As he's interested in this, as he says, well, one of his glyphs is called cosmic. What is a cosmic glyph? So he asked if she could teach him how to use cosmic energy. As yeah, as they decide to go back to the park right around the time where they're ending the they're going back, as Izuki stops time putting the memories that the clone had got during this whole situation into her seeing what the clone went through, saying that how she fixed the relationship with her dad, well, somewhat, and yeah. As then we go to the next day, where Izuku is helping Blitzo move some stuff, and Luna comes up to him and asks him if he can transform into his werewolf form, just so then she can test how strong he is. As he transforms into his, well, regular werewolf form, him cracking his neck, his fingers, and well, getting used to it since he hasn't transformed into this form since the prior day. She then does a spinning kick on Izuku, him blocking this, her hearing a slight tang on Izuku's body. As Izuku says, he can turn parts of his body into, well, different metals and stuff. He can turn his bones into jelly if he wanted to. As she is interested in this, as they get to know each other. As a month goes by of Izuku going on dates with Luna and Octavia, and Izuku getting to know Blitzo, Moxie, and, well, Stolas. As Stolas finds Izuku interesting, saying is, interesting in the way that he has really strong magical potential. As, Stolas asks him if he wants to fight someone strong. As Yuki says, well, sure. As he brings him to one of the strongest people he knows, Alistair, the radio demon. As Alistair, in his radio voice, asks Stolas if this is the boy that he wanted to fight him. As Stolas says yes, as Alistair smells something different about this boy. Alistair can smell the humanity of Izuku, saying he's a human. As Izuku corrects him, saying, "No, I'm a werewolf. This is just my human form." As Alistair is intrigued, as Izuku says, "Are we going to get on with this fight, or are we just going to keep running here, twiddling our thumbs?" As Alistair then says, "Shall we make a deal, my friend?" Izuku says, "Sure." As Alistair says, "If I win, I get to take your soul. If you win, you can have any one thing you want, and I'll make sure you have it." As Izuku says, shakes Alistair's head and says, "Deal, chum." As they go to an arena and fight, this causing the attention of a large crowd. One of them being Charlie, Lucifer, and Lilith. They watch this fight as they see Izuku and Alistair fighting. Alistair using his tentacles, as Izuku decides to try something out. As he thinks in his mind, okay, I need something that's strong and that would strike fear here. As Izuku then thinks, familiar. As he goes into a dimension that you can only go in a split that slows down time indefinitely, and he goes to a familiar dimension that you can only go to through your mindscape. As the familiar master there says, "Well, you're new. What kind of familiar would you like?" As Zuko says, "I'm going to need something strong and that can strike fear even in demons and devils." As the man brings him to a graveyard, as then two beings appear, as they, in a deep, hollow voice, say, "Well, hello there, Izuku Midoriya. Well, Izuku Lycan. We know about your feats, dying twice, and managing to get demonic, well, 3 times it actually. Demonic, and managing to get demonic, angelic, and godly powers. Me and my brother here are both intrigued." As they introduce themselves, saying, "My name is Hades. My name is Hades. And this is my brother Death." As Yuka says, "Well, nice to meet you." As then this third being pops up from behind them. As this man appears up from behind Death and Hades. As he says, "Hello. I am Crab Skull." As I know this name is from an anime. I forgot which one it is, but I needed to rush a name because I couldn't think of one. As Izuku's as now let's go back to Izuku's. As Izuku converses with these 3, and they agree to become Izuku's familiars, as long as they can observe him and, well, make a couple deals with him from time to time. Well, I mean, more like bets amongst each other to see if Izuku can do something correct or incorrect. As, yeah. As then Izuku comes back out of his mindscape and gives a small, a light smirk to Alistair, as he then summons Crab Skull, Hades, and Death. If I got the Hades and Death names wrong, it's because they're both Reaper type guys. As Alistair is intrigued, saying that, who are these fine dapper fellows that look like the Grim Reaper and a warlock of some kind? As Izuku says, this is Hades, Death, and Krebskull. As Hades and Death draw their scythes, and Krebskull uses his wand to create death balls, this being flaming skulls. As they shoot them at Alistair, as Izuku snaps his fingers and they go away. As Izuku decides to try something new. As he decides to imbue some demonic as well as draconic magic into himself. As this starts to change his body. This making his eyes flare into his ultimate eyes, but something different happens. Instead of his ears coming out, two horns do. And then this black armor appears on his arms, and wings pop out his back. So Izuku turns back into his human form, as Izuku unzips his jacket. And if I've already said this, it's because I did not realize that I didn't unpause. But Izuku then says that the only glyph that I want to need is my godly one. As Izuku then takes off his jacket. Him still wearing his mask, by the way. He's been wearing his mask all this time. As he takes his mask down and puts it around his neck. And says, the only thing that I'm gonna need is my godly seal. As Izuku then, as I've already said this, but Izuku then says, well, I have each one of these glyphs on my body represents a different magical power. As he then starts listing off fire, water, earth, thunder, air, demonic, angelic, godly, dimensional, null, void, draconic, cosmic, and destructive, and illusion. As Alistair is surprised, but then Izuku harnesses the godly power in his fist, as spikes then protrude from his knuckles, as then he gives a punch right to Alistair. This imprint making an imprint of Alistair right there. As this knocks him out, as Alistair then says, seems like you've won, my friend. As then, Izuku and Alistair make their as Alistair says to Izuku, so, what do you want out of everything that I can give you? As Izuku says, not much. As then Alistair says, then what's your deepest desire? As Izuku has one thing running through his head. Protection. As Izuku says, I want to be able to, as Izuku says to Alistair, I want to be able to protect anybody that I want. As Alistair says, and Izuku continues to say, I want to be able to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and to be able to protect whoever I love and care about. As Alistair says, haven't heard that one since I think it was King Arthur. He had a very similar wish, but it was to protect his kingdom. So, seems like you're either related to him, or just have very similar desires to him. As then Alistair and Izuku shake hands, and nothing really happens, but inside Izuku, this seal has been put on his heart. This making him, being able to rise from the ashes. As Izuku says that he doesn't really feel any different, but then Alistair says, you will see what will happen in the future. As Izuku leaves, and Stola says, "Congratulations, my young friend." Oh, so, what would you like to do now? As Izuku says, "Well, I just want to go back to my hotel and sleep." As Izuku then says, "Tomorrow I'll be able to leave." As then, Stolas asking, "What do you mean by leave?" As Izuku says, "My, dimensional powers are almost at the tip top." And Izuku then says, only one more sleep should be able to top them up at the tippy top." As Stolas then congratulates Izuku for being able um, to get his magical powers back. As and Izuku goes back to his hotel, and we go to the next day, where Izuku was saying goodbye to his friends that he made in hell, and he creates a portal big enough for him to go through. As he goes through it, as now that's the end of the part. So, like, subscribe, and comment if you want, and comment below if you want to see a part 4. Goodbye, and have a good day, good night, good evening, or whatever time it is for you.